Welcome to Dartsmans' Key Secret Life. Please welcome your host.
Is it Dartsman?
No, it isn't. We have a guest host. Adventurous. She can change your life forever. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome wellbeing and mental health coach, Miss Polly Brennan.
I am a woman on a mission. Oh, nothing can stop me. I'm stronger than ever. I'm gonna see this through. I am a woman on a mission. Oh, whatever it takes, I will do what I gotta.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode. So you'll be surprised that I'm not your usual host. My name is Polly Brennan from Adventures Coaching, and I've been lucky enough to be invited to host this week's show. So thanks very much for watching. It's an absolute honour. As I say, my name's Polly Brennan. I'm the founder of Adventures Coaching and the creator of the Mental Fitness Kit Bag model. And here I am today. It's my car vlog, sharing with you how I help people build mental fitness. Now, you'll hear lots these days, people are talking more about mental health. Now, that's a great thing. It's something we should all be talking about, and it's become more palatable to talk about our mental health. So I'm really very happy to see that this is the case. But the thing is, mental health is not a new concept. Mental health has been around as long as we have. And spoiler alert, if you have a pulse, you have mental health. And so do I. But it is something that people sometimes still tend to think of as being something that affects other people. And we all do that. But the truth of it is we all have mental health, and depending upon what's happening in our lives and the stressors we're faced with and our past experiences and our supports and a whole load of other things, this will completely and utterly influence how we handle life's curveballs and stressful times. Now, my God, hasn't 2020 presented us with plenty of reasons to have to build our mental health? So, from 25 years of experience working in the field of mental health for the NHS, I've built a business that is focused on helping people build mental fitness, because we don't want to wait until things are feeling difficult and we're feeling a bit broken, or we're not sure how to cope, things have got too tough. What we all have to do, all of us, is to understand what mental fitness means and bring it into our own lives. Now, if you were to imagine a scale of, say, 0 to 10, okay, and we think of 0 as being the worst things could be, when life would be so turned upside down we wouldn't be managing anymore. And imagine 10 being that bit where, excuse the technical term, we're kicking the ass out of life. We all want to be here. Now, we can't always be here all the time, but we can often be here more of the time. That's possible for all of us. But what we absolutely want at the least is for us to be 5 and above. We want to have the tools to deal with stress. We want to have the resources to build a strong mindset. We want to be able to attend to our self-care. We want to be able to take action. We want to be able to create a mindset that fosters a really, really positive view of the landscape around us. We want to be able to deal with being really bounce backable when things get tough. And my goodness, we've had to batten down the hatches this year, haven't we? And so there's many, there's how do we have a strong and powerful team around us of people who can support us? And all of those things enable us just to really have our life's adventure, and that is completely possible for all of us. In life, I believe that pain is inevitable, but you know what? Suffering's optional. Let's not suffer. I've been told before, and I love this quote, that we're here for a good time, not for a long time. So let's make sure we kick the ass out of the life we've got and enjoy it to the full. So what I'm going to do with you for the next 5 minutes is I'm going to talk to you about mental fitness. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can pack a mental fitness kit bag. So here's my kit bag. I've brought lots of resources and I want to share some of those with you today. First things first, I want to talk to you about the story you tell. Now this is really, really important because we all have a story that we tell ourselves and the world about who we are, about what's possible. So here we are. What's your story? Now there's a question. You know, many years ago I hit a pain point and it took me to looking for coaching because I was feeling stuck. I felt like I was facing a lot of roadblocks in my life. I went to find a life coach and I told her my story of woe and how terrible life was feeling. And the very first thing she said to me was, "How's this story working out for you then?" Now at first I thought that was a really interesting question, a tad rude, but then I realised something really important. I realised that she was asking me if I wanted to choose a different story, a different way to look at the challenge I was facing. And in order to move forward, it was important for me to create a more empowering story. So I did. But this is something that you can do and I can do. Because you know what? We explain to ourselves and the world about who we are by telling a story. The world isn't writing your story for you. You are. So make sure it's a really, really good one. Make sure you choose a narrative that creates a strong message about who you are and what you've got to offer. And if it's not a helpful one, change it. And here's the thing, if you can't change it, change what it means, at the least. So just remember that at any point in your life, you can decide how you tell the story about what's happening to you in your life, about where you've been and about where you're going. Because let's face it, we're all on a journey, aren't we? So let's talk about journeys. Let's talk about journeys. That's the second thing I want to talk about around mental fitness. Navigating your journey. So we're all on a journey in life. So here we are. Here's my map. I want to show you this map because it's a map of the castles and coasts. I'm a keen cyclist and I'm always getting my map out and wondering where I can go on my bike, which adventures I can go on. I'm always in the outdoors doing something a bit daft, a bit wacky. It's with either the ocean or the woods. I'm building fires, I'm cycling, I'm swimming, I'm building dens and having fun. And that's something you can have too. But when you're on a journey in life, you need a map, don't you? So here's a map. If you were on a journey, you'll have started somewhere and you'll be going somewhere. But how do you know where you're going? How do you know when you're going to get there? How do you know what it is going to look like? Unless you're really, really clear about what you want. It's possible at any time. Just see if I can find another one of my props. There we go, got the binoculars. If you're on a journey, you want to have your binoculars out so as you can see where it is you're going and navigate the way. And to do that, you need milestones. So you need to know where you're headed. You need to know what you're going to see along the way to tell you you're on track. And actually, see what's behind you. It's your rear view mirror. And every now and then it's okay to take a look back and see where you've been. But you don't want to stay where you've been, you want to move forward. So it's all right to say, you know, I've been on a journey and this is what I've learned along the way. Sometimes it helps to take stock, to reset your compass and think about where you've been and to work out where you are. So it's completely possible that right now you can just stop and take stock. It's October and most of the year's gone, but it's not completely gone. So it's all right to take stock of where you've been this year. What's happened along the way? What have you learned? What do you know better now? What tools have you got? What have you managed? What successes have you created in spite of everything that's going on? In my experience, even the most creative, successful and competent and capable people can get lost. They can feel stuck or they can hit a crossroad. This can happen to any of us. And that's okay. That might be you. It might be someone you know. But what's important is that we stop and we take stock. We work out. You have a check-in. You work out where you've been and you work out where you want to go next on your life's journey. And you can take time to think a bit about, where do I want to head next? Is where I thought I was heading where I want to be? And let's face it, this year a lot of people have reevaluated their plans, their goals, and maybe changed direction, because maybe this time to take stocks help them realise they want something different. So if you aren't where you want to be or where you thought you'd be, this is a really good time to stop and think a bit about how you're going to get clear on what it is you do want and take steps forward towards that. It's a bit like setting SMART goals, isn't it? You work out what the end goal is and then you start working backwards. There's still time. The year's not over. Because, you know, maybe we've all taken a bit of a detour, or life's gone a bit on hold. We've pulled in from the fast lane and we've had to sit in the, we've had to park up for a little bit. But perhaps it is possible to get going again and stay on track and work out where you'd like to be before the year's through and how you can make that happen. So there's a wee bit for you about your journey. Okay, let's think about number 3. This is about nurturing your well-being. So people talk about self-care, but what does that mean? And actually, more importantly, what does it mean to you? So let's see what we've got in the kit bag here. Excuse me while I rummage around. Okay. This is where I usually get my walking boots out and I get my sleep mask out, because for me, self-care is all about getting enough sleep. It's about getting my boots on and getting outdoors and stomping in the wilderness. So these are the things that I most connect with having a really, really positive well-being. What I really want to know, I think we'd all agree that well-being is something that we all want. We all want to be well. We all want to be thriving in life. Yeah, it will look different to us all. And the big question is, how does it look for you? What does it mean? You might already know, or maybe you don't. Maybe you hear people talking about self-care all the time and you're not sure what they mean by that. Sometimes I get a bit confused by that too. But what I've discovered is that well-being for me is about having enough rest. So that's about enough sleep and enough downtime and a bit of balance in my life. And it's also about being in the outdoors. That's where I create mindfulness. That's where I connect with myself and think. That's where I take time to take it all in. Smells, the sights, the sounds, being in the woods, being by the sea, being by the river. And that's where I do my exercise, and that's a really big part of my physical and mental well-being. I'm at my best when I'm having a workout. And it's where I feel free-spirited and free. What does it look like for you? This is a wee moment where I want you to stop and think a bit about what that actually means and looks like for you. This is a super important question. Think about a time when you felt at your best, your sense of well-being. We've got to focus on ourselves. There's a lot of different tools that I use when I'm looking at mindset with people. One of them is where we look at what's in your control and what's not, and have you 100% focusing on what's in your control, because that influences your mindset. Sometimes we have to compartmentalise. That's where the bucket comes in. Sometimes what we have to do is park things up, put them in a space where we can tackle them another time. And sometimes we just have to put them aside and not allow things to take over our mind. So the bucket is a metaphor, as is the file. Now the bucket is where I put things that are not in my control. I park them up so that I can focus on what is in my control. And the file is another great strategy for compartmentalisation. And it's where I put people. In here are the people in my life that, by having their thoughts valid and fresh in my mind, is not helping me. So the people that are causing problems in my life go in the shit file. And sometimes I tell them. But you know what? If you say things in a particular way, sometimes people think you're joking. So if you say, oh, you're in the shit pile, sometimes people think that you're being funny, but they're in the shit pile. So if I ever tell you you're in the shit pile, you're in the shit pile. But joking aside, it is a strategy that can be used to build compartmentalisation into your life, where you just park up what you can't tackle. Because if you don't, it's like squatters. It's like when something gets under your skin, or something's there around you that you can't get rid of. What do we do with squatters? Evict them. So sometimes it's just about putting things where they belong and moving them out of your line of vision if they're not helping you. So we're making space by doing that, by compartmentalising. We're making space for the things that we can control and manage. We say goodbye to people or things that are weighing us down. So what should we talk about next? Let me have a think. I think I'll talk to you next about resilience, because this has been the one thing we've all really had to work on this year. This is one thing we've really learned, is just how resilient we are. I think we've absolutely handled COVID like a boss. We've all had our struggles. People have hit peaks and troughs along the way at different points. We all have. It's just how it's been. Resilience. I think of resilience as being like bounce back ability. Now, people think of resilience in different ways. So I hear people talk about things like wanting to grow an extra layer of skin to stop life's curveballs affecting them, or wanting to be able to bend a little and flex a little more than they have done before. Resilience is something that, if I was to show you my props, which I will in a minute, resilience is something we can all do. It's about recovering when things have been difficult. It's about having rebound, being able to bounce back, and resilience, and having a plan in place. Now, one of my props here I'll share with you. It's not a good look, but it's vital. It's my cycle hat. Or it could be like a hard hat. So it's not a good look, as I say, but I need this for my head. This keeps me safe. This is important. So why is a hard hat important? Let me tell you why. Because life throws obstacles our way, doesn't it? And we need protection to avoid injury when life gets tough. Life throws missiles our way, and what we have to do is one or two things. We have to either put our hard hat on so that we don't get injured. We have to move out of the way of the obstacles life's thrown at us to make ourselves safe. Sometimes we have to batten down the hatches and wait for the storm to pass. It's a bit like the ability to be hit 8 times but get back up 9. It's where we keep coming back from, where we keep managing to go on. Sometimes it's a little bit like being able to stretch. So this is my exercise band that I've got from physio. But it's about being able to stretch. It's like when things get tough, you just stretch a bit more. It's about bounce back ability. Usually I've got a ball kicking about in amongst my kit, because we have to be able to bounce back, and it's tough. How do we do that? Well, that's tricky. It's about knowing when to move out of the way, when to face something head on. So when we're hit with an obstacle, we have to work out when to tackle it head on, when to move out of the way, and take action when the time's right, or avoid the obstacle. And sometimes it's about preventing things from happening. So there are things in our lives that we can avoid. There are times when we get really good at understanding our own resilience and the triggers, the things that will challenge us in our life and make us less resilient. Sometimes we've got to prevent those things from being a barrier for us, prevent those roadblocks. So that means we have to understand the things that challenge our resilience and make sure that we avoid them in our life as much as we can. And if we can't, we need an early warning system. When you think about a traffic lights flash red, amber and green. When we're green, we're good to go. We're absolutely on fire, at our best, kicking ass. We need to understand what it looks like at a green. And we need to understand what things keep us at a green, our best. But we also need to understand amber. Get my traffic lights. We need to understand what amber's all about. When are we amber? What's affecting that? I'm sure it's got a switch somewhere, look. So it works. Red, amber and green. I don't know if you'll be able to see it flashing. But there's times when all singing, all dancing, what does that look like? What things are in place that help us do this? we need to understand early warning signs, because this is a way that we can think about noticing when we're less resilient, noticing when there's some little signs that if we tackle them pretty quickly, we can make a big impact. We can turn things around and take control. And to do this, we need to know what it looks like when we're amber. We also need to know what things we can do to take us from an amber to a green. And it's vital that we understand what red's all about. What does that look like? That needs a good contingency plan. When we hit red, we need to act quickly, get support, ask for help. One of the things I love to do with people when I'm coaching is to help them create their own resilience action plan. It's a fabulous thing to do. I think we all need one. And the reason why it's so important is, as I said, it gives us the control over creating strategies in our life, noticing signs, taking action and knowing what we need. So I have a lot of fun helping people with that. Building resilience, is there anything else I want to say about that? Sometimes in terms of being resilient, we have to pull back, take the pressure off ourselves and go only as fast as the slowest part of our body feels able to go. So that is a note to self. Okay, taking action. Taking action is super important. We all want to take action. Sometimes we can't, you know, pandemics tend to get in the way of that. We might have goals and plans and things we want to do with our life, and then pandemic comes along and gets in the way. Or sometimes it's about getting out your comfort zone and doing more than you maybe would have done before. So taking action is super important. Now, what proper have we got for you here? Let's have a think. Okay, bear with. Here we have it, we have the rocket. Rockets launch us to the moon, but this is also about being impactful. It's about you know, taking action, it's about going places. And in order to be able to take action, we need all the tools we need. In order to take action, we need a plan. In order to take action, we need to know what things around us will support us. So rockets launch us to the moon and the stars, and we can reach for the stars too. We can go places, but this takes a clear plan. So what is it you want to do? What do you want to do? What's the goal you most want to achieve? How do you want to take action and make an impact? And what motivates you to take action? What supports you? Maybe it's about identifying small steps to get you to the end goal. Maybe it's that you need someone to hold you accountable and encourage you. Maybe you need an accountability buddy. You need to work out what might get in the way, what roadblocks might you face. Is it procrastination? Are you an avoider like me? And how can you push yourself forward? It's a great technique I use called the rocket launch technique. It takes 5 seconds to go from an idea to action. Sometimes we have to act quickly before that little monologue starts to happen in our head and we talk ourselves out of things. There's a lot of techniques I love to use to help people take action. But what I want to know is what helps you take action. Because what taking action is all about, it's about stop majoring in minor things. Stop being busy with the small stuff. What is it that you really, really want? You can make it so. And you know what? Fear is a big factor here, isn't it? We all get a bit scared of doing things that are really important, but you have to let go to grow. So what are you going to do? We have to be focused on the goals and the results we want, but sometimes we just got to be a bit flexible on the journey, and this is certainly a year we've had to be really flexible on the journey. And bear in mind that when you're doing this, you need some good people around you. So have a good team, and I'll talk about team in a minute. But if you can't change the people, change the people. Sometimes we have to decide who to keep and who not to. So let's talk about next. Okay, we're going to talk about celebrating successes. So this is where my pom-poms come out. This is about celebrating successes. It's about becoming our own cheerleader, which is super important. It's great to have people around us that are celebrating our wins and helping us. People matter, but it's also super important to become our own cheerleader. Very important. Okay, so let's have a think about this. Celebrating your success. This is all about, again, fits with making an impact. It's about noticing the wins that you're making along the way. How often do people get so focused on the actions and the goals, they stop thinking about noticing what they're doing really, really well and stopping and patting themselves on the back when they're doing well? Because making meaningful change And creating success means knowing what it is you want, naming it, knowing how to measure when you've got the wins that you want, and being able to celebrate and notice what's going well, because it's a very, very significant motivating factor to be able to celebrate your wins along the way and notice what you're doing well, so that you'll move on to the next thing and the next, and that keeps you moving forward. Small is significant. Sometimes we can get busy looking at the big stuff and forget to notice the small stuff. So what I'm looking for here is my magnifying glass, because sometimes we can be so busy focusing on what's not going well, what's going wrong, we don't focus on what is going well. And that is a powerful game changer. It can really shift your motivation and your mindset when you start paying attention to successes. And what I can tell you, which applies to many things in life, is small is significant. So what we have to do is we have to notice the small, subtle little things that are changing. Signs of change are all around. If you think about it, the world is spinning, the clock's ticking. Every day we wake up with new hair, new cells. Changes absolutely all around us all the time. But sometimes when we feel a bit stuck, we can't see changes. They're so subtle, we can't see them. And I want to remind you that it's our job every day to notice the successes that we're creating all around us, and they can be tiny. And one of the habits that I would recommend to you for this is a habit that I use daily, is pick a time of the day where you're winding your day down and ask yourself ask yourself one question, and it's this: what 3 things have happened today that have been positive? It doesn't matter how small. I promise you, even on the worst days, if you try, you can come up with 3 things that were positive. I promise you. And it can be tiny. It can be very, very small. It can be that you had a lovely moment petting the neighbour's dog. It can be the sunset. It can be that you ate your favourite biscuits. It can be that you got a smile from someone that you care about. It can be anything. I promise you, if you're looking, you will find successes. You'll always find them. They're all around us. Let's start celebrating them more. Because if you don't, what you'll do is you'll sweat the small stuff instead. You'll think about what wasn't good about the day and what didn't go well. And if you're looking for those, you'll find them. So whatever you look for, you'll find it. So make sure you're looking for the successes that you're creating. And also remember that the successes that you're creating will give you evidence and clues about how to create other successes in your life. Because how you do one thing can help you with other things. So this is all about the importance of celebrations. And I'm sure you can all come up with a tune or something like that you listen to when you're celebrating. So this is all about big wins and small. You know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one simple step. It's about learning what works. It's about clarifying and noticing your competence. And that is a powerful game changer. It can really shift your motivation and your mindset when you start paying attention to successes. And what I can tell you, which applies to many things in life, is small is significant. So what we have to do is we have to notice the small, subtle little things that are changing. Signs of change are all around. If you think about it, the world is spinning, the clock's ticking. Every day we wake up with new hair, new cells. Changes absolutely all around us all the time. But sometimes when we feel a bit stuck, we can't see changes. They're so subtle, we can't see them. And I want to remind you that it's our job every day to notice the successes that we're creating all around us, and they can be tiny. And one of the habits that I would recommend to you for this is a habit that I use daily, is pick a time of the day where you're winding your day down and ask yourself 3 questions. Ask yourself one question, and it's this: what 3 things have happened today that have been positive? It doesn't matter how small. I promise you, even on the worst days, if you try, you can come up with 3 things that were positive. I promise you. And it can be tiny. It can be very, very small. It can be that you had a lovely moment petting the neighbour's dog. It can be the sunset. It can be that you ate your favourite biscuits. It can be that you got a smile from someone that you care about. It can be anything. I promise you, if you're looking, you will find successes. You'll always find them. They're all around us. Let's start celebrating them more. Because if you don't, what you'll do is you'll sweat the small stuff instead. You'll think about what wasn't good about the day and what didn't go well. And if you're looking for those, you'll find them. So whatever you look for, you'll find it. So make sure you're looking for the successes that you're creating. And also remember that the successes that you're creating will give you evidence and clues about how to create other successes in your life, because how you do one thing can help you with other things. So this is all about the importance of celebrations. I'm sure you can all come up with a tune or something like that you listen to when you're celebrating. So this is all about big wins and small. You know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one simple step. It's about learning what works. It's about clarifying and noticing your competencies and recognising your achievements. And that is possible for all of us. Okay, I want to talk about the power of your team. Team is so important. The power of your team. Who's in your team? That's what I want to know. So people matter. Now let's think. I can't find my props for this one. I've got an address book, because that's where old school, before we had all our addresses in our phones, we'd have an address book and we would keep the numbers and addresses of all the people that were important to us. I've got my whistle, which I can't find at the moment, but whistles are important because that's how you whistle to your team, don't you, to rally your team. And sometimes you've got to rally your team. But in order to assemble your team and rally your team, you need to know who's on your team. So, you know, you'll have heard this saying that we're the result of the 5 people we spend most time with. That's what they say. I believe that who you connect with will influence how you see the world and your mindset. Now, I'm an extrovert, so I'm naturally drawn towards people, which is great. And everybody needs people in their lives, but it's not just about lots of people, it's about the right people. And that's what's most important. And research suggests that meaningful connections directly relate to our mortality. People with meaningful connections live longer. There's a brilliant TED talk about this, look it up. And like many people, my success and my mental health are a result of having a team in my life, of the right people who make a difference and people who add value. Who's on your team? I would like to invite you all just to take a wee think about who it is that you have on your team and whether they are the people that are adding most value and giving you what you need. And you know what? It's possible to review your team and decide to eliminate people. It's also possible to recruit new people to your team. The kind of things I need from people on my team are, I want to hang about with other people that will cheer me on. I want to hang about with people who will be kind and compassionate when I need that and help me not beat myself up. I want to hang about with people that are up for a bit of mischief and adventure, who want to go do stuff and laugh lots, because, oh my goodness, it's so valuable. There's a lot of research around laughter and how it impacts mental health. When we're laughing, we create endorphins, and endorphins are invaluable. But what I'm inviting you to do is think about who you need in your team. What are the things that good people in your life bring to you? Have a clan, get the right people in place, and know what value they add. So this is a job for you to do right now, is to think about who you want in your team. Who are the people that you have? Why do they make a difference? And make sure you brief them well. Make sure they know where they're adding value and that they're making a difference. And make sure you keep them close so that you can rally them when you need them. Stay connected to them. Use your whistle, rally them from time to time, and make sure they know how they can cheerlead you. And make sure you know how to reach out for support when you need it. It's all very well having a team, but you've got to know when to use your team and how they can help. Okay, so we're nearly done, guys. I promise you. My very short hosting's becoming longer. Okay, so to bring the last one to you, I want to say this. One day, your life is going to flash before your eyes. Make sure it's worth watching. It's my favourite quote by, what was it called? Oh gosh, what was he called? It was somebody Gerard from Manic Street Pictures. It's a brilliant, brilliant quote. Okay, so this is about adventure. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, with the right tools in place, your life could be your big adventure. And to do that, you need to have all these other things in place. We need you to have a powerful story to tell yourself about who you are and to tell the world about who you are and what you have to offer. We need you to be on a journey where you know where you're headed and you know what you want. You know where you've been, but you know where you're going next. And that when you hit crossroads or roadblocks, you know what to do to keep keep yourself in motion. We need you looking after your well-being so that you're mentally and physically strong and healthy and thriving. We need you to have a mindset that's going to fuel an optimistic view of the world. And we need you to really know what to do when life's big curveballs hit, whether it's about battening down the hatches, whether it's about riding the storm, or whether it's about having the right support around you. We need you to be able to take an action and moving forward. We need you to be being impactful in your own life, doing things that matter. So make sure you know how to take action and what can help you take the actions you want to take in your life going forward. So we also want you to think about the success, celebrating those successes you're creating along the way, because it's so important to cheerlead yourself. It's not terribly British, so we're not really brought up to do that. There are other cultures who are much better at celebrating their successes. But it's time to get your own pom-poms out and give yourself a wee cheerlead. It's time to notice what you're doing well. It's time to own your capabilities and to really celebrate them. So we just talked about the power of your team and how they can help you. You want people that are cheerleading you, helping you have more in whatever way you need. And finally, this is about embracing life, grabbing it by the balls. There's a technical term for you. And it's about deciding that, your life can be the adventure you want it to be. Adventuring, well, that means something different to each of us. I know what it means to me. It's about everyday adventures. It's about the surfing, the biking, the camping, the wilderness. It's about being under a starlit canopy. It's about being in the outdoors, trying new things, visiting new places. It's about a whole load of good stuff. But what does it mean to you? It can be about adventure in the ordinary. It could be about anything you want it to be. But just remember, we're here for a good time, not for a long time. So the prop I want to share with you, well, I haven't got them all with me. I bring my passport because travelling is an important adventure for me. I would also bring my fishbowl. It's about the parties and the fun and the laughter and friendship, but we're not really doing much of that right now. And thirdly, it's about my adventure jar. Now, you can have one of these. Anyone can. This is my little adventure jar. And all I've done is that every time I think of something that I get excited about, that I want in my life, even if I can't have it right now, I write it down and I put it in the jar. Anything I fancy doing, anything that I get excited about, it goes here. This is my adventure jar. And what I invite my friends to do every now and then is pop one in for me. I like a few wild cards in here that I don't know about. And every now and then, when I feel like an adventure's necessary, I'll put my hand in the jar and pull something out. Now, some of the things in here take planning and organisation. Others can be done impromptu. I can pick up that activity and go do it. Things I like to do that are easy is to just grab some wood and go have a beach fire. Jumping on my bike, lying cloud gazing, or watching the stars, or night biking, or having a picnic. There's all sorts of ways to have an adventure. The big thing that you need to do is work out what that means to you. What excites you and completely floats your boat that you can do right now. Why is it important? Well, what you do with your time off impacts how you manage your time on. So that's really important. And also what we know is that adventures boost our confidence. The more you do, the more you have a can-do attitude to life. It boosts our confidence. But it's a stress buster. It's a buffer. As someone who works in the NHS in a challenging role, and who works has a business and works as a mental fitness coach, having a buffer, a way to manage the stresses and strains of everyday life is really important to me, and I guess it is for all of us. Adventure helps me learn how to get in my comfort zone, and it does for other people too. Adventure challenges us, problem solving that you have to do, working out what to do, overcoming challenges. These are all transferable skills. And I guess that there's always a risk that we could morph into old people, or if you have a business, you could morph into your business. And this is all about inviting you to be an out-of-office thriver. So my invite to you, pack your kit bag and make time to be either an out-of-office thriver or just a person that's living their life to the full. So I've talked a lot. I've shown you bits of kit. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want to download, I've got a mental fitness kit bag ebook. It's sort of COVID specific on my website, which is www.adventurescoaching.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all those places. I'm on YouTube. It's all under Adventures Coaching. That's where you can find me. So I've got an ebook. You can come find me if you want some coaching. Lots and lots of things. I want to. If you want to sign up for my email list, I do a weekly challenge that hits your mailbox on a Wednesday. If you want to think about an area that we've talked about and how you can develop around that, just kick the ass out of the life you're leading and enjoy to the full. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. So thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been great fun, and I wish you all an absolutely fantastic day, whatever you're getting up to. It's Polly Brennan from Adventures Coaching signing over and out. Thank you.